The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I am your host. I am your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Simul Radio, and iHeart Radio. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out what programming we have available for you 24/7, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. X Zone Nation, my guest tonight is Barry Strohm. He was born near Hershey, Pennsylvania, attended Lehigh University, where he obtained a degree in business management, and later became a licensed civil engineer. After spending a career in the construction industry, he realized that he possessed the ability to communicate with the spirit world. After publishing his first book, Haunting and the History of the Battle of Gettysburg in 2011, he began to write books based on information channeled from the spirits on the other side of life and the other side of the life veil. Spirits Speak of the Universe is Barry's fifth published book. And joining me now is Barry Strohm. And Barry, welcome to the X Zone.
Hey, thanks for putting up with me.
No problem. Always great helping somebody out here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and when was it or how was it that you discovered you had the ability to communicate with those on the other side of the veil?
Well, it was a long path. As I say, I have a scientific background, worked in construction, stone aggregates, stone quarry business all my life. Actually was the CEO of a company for about 5 years. Didn't even believe in ghosts till I was about 60 years old. Bought a building here in Pennsylvania, converted it into an antique gallery, and found out that it was loaded with ghosts. My employees would talk about it, so forth. So we do a paranormal investigation here, and so much happened, I just simply started to believe into it. Got involved with photography. The store is about 8 miles from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where the famous Civil War battle was fought. Went out, started taking pictures, got some incredible ghost pictures. Was always a history nut, and wound up writing my first book, which was Haunting and History of the Battle of Gettysburg. I published about 220 ghost pictures. Got involved with some psychics. They started coming here to the store. We started communicating with the spirits, and as most people do, we started with a ghost box, talking to them, taking pictures of them. Started to actually interact with them. I mean, we got some really friendly ghosts here at the store. We had some friends out in Salt Lake City, and we found out that they actually did board channeling, where they used not a Ouija board, but a specially designed board, and they'd been doing it for about 40 years out there. The people invited me to attend the session. We sat down, and they started getting me messages about everything that was going on back here at the store in Pennsylvania. And I was hooked. Asked them if they would teach me how to do it. And they started to teach my wife Connie and myself board channeling. And as we progressed, we realized we really could do it. And right now, we've probably channeled with spirits on the other side, 600-700 hours. We're very careful what we do. Mm-hmm. Everything we do, we videotape. So every major session that we've ever done, I have the video of on file. And we started getting the idea to write some books based on the information they were giving us. And right now, my 6th book is at the publisher. And it's been a wild ride.
So who was the first spirit you communicated with that you could identify?
The first spirit that I ever communicated was here at the store. And it was, I had a professional group come in, and we had a psychic that was involved in the group. And she's telling me that she is talking to this little girl. We're doing the investigation, lights are out. Mm-hmm. And I had a K2 meter, had no idea what to do with it at the time. So I had it on, and I said, and psychic's telling us the girl's name is Clarissa. So I said, Clarissa, if you're really here, can you make my meter light up? And the thing starts to blink. So I said to her, can you make it blink once for yes and twice for no? I saw that on a TV show, so I thought I'd show them how much I knew. And the thing blinks once for yes. And the medium is saying, she wants to show you her pink doll. I said, Clarissa, you want to show me a pink doll? Blinks once. I said, okay, we're good. So I said, give us directions and we'll try to find your doll for you. So we started across, lights are out in the store, and this is a 30,000 square foot store. It's a very big building. Come to the first aisle, should I turn here? Blinks twice for no. Second aisle, turn here, blinks twice for no. We come to the third aisle, and I say, should we turn left here? And it blinks once. Start down the aisle, go about 10 feet, and totally lose contact with her. Psyche can't talk to her anymore. I think, man, that was really amazing. About a half an hour later, we're taking a break. I'm going through the building, turning the lights back on, and I'm coming from the aisle from the opposite direction. And when I approach the area where we lost Clarissa, I look up in the display case, and there's a pink doll sitting there. She had led us about 100 feet through the store with 3 commands and took us to this pink doll. And I'm thinking, there really got to be something to this ghost stuff. So that is probably the first real spirit that I had close contact with. From that time on, they would talk to me on the ghost box, and it just continued to snowball until I really became kind of obsessed with trying to find out what really was going on the other side.
So as an engineer and somebody who's into science and you know, you're, like you said, the former CEO of a company, how do you explain that a spirit who has no mass is able to light up a K2 meter and give you intelligent directions?
Because of their soul energy. Their soul energy on the other side maintains all their mental abilities, and once they pass over, they pick up a lot more ability. Once they're on that other side, it's phenomenal what they can do. We're totally blown away with some of the things that we're involved with right now.
Such as?
Well, my 6th book that's at the publisher concerns the missing years in the life of Jesus, and we've channeled what took place in those missing 18 years. We're currently channeling with some of the highest of the Holy Spirits, and they're giving us this incredible information.
So tell me, why you? And why not the other hundreds of thousands of paranormal investigators out there? Why you?
We have a fairly unique soul history. Once you really get into this and you understand all the aspects of reincarnation and what goes into it, what you did in your prior lives, you find out that certain souls have done an awful lot in prior lives. One interesting point, and you know, humans have only been on this earth for around 200,000 years.
Right.
Your soul energy was eternal. So that soul energy was somewhere long before humans were on this earth. So you, myself, all of our souls have this prior life history, and it's what we did in that prior life that reflects what we can do in this life.
So does that include what we've done in other dimensions and other realities and other universes on other planets?
Oh, you've absolutely been on other planets.
How do I know that for a fact? How do I know that this just isn't smoke and mirrors?
Well, we have actually been able to channel prior lives on other planets. The book that my 2 alien books are based on us channeling with the spirit of an alien. He has the same soul energies that other humans have, and he actually reincarnated on this planet. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but the more we got into this thing and the more we check details out, the more this stuff checks out. My first alien book was called Aliens Among Us, Exploring Past and Present. He did things like he told us what the Nazca lines stand for in Peru, went through historical facts, told us, interactions, how certain inventions came in, just a ton of information that I would go back and research and tie together.
All right, listen, Barry,
it's hard to believe.
Barry,
I was one of the biggest skeptics.
Barry, we've got to take a break. Please stand by. Okay. Exonation, our guest this hour is Barry Strohm, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Check out the X Zone Broadcast Network and all the great programming we have available for you 24/7, 365 at www.xzbn.net. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on XZBN.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org.
Exonation, Barry Strohm is our guest this hour. And just like to go back to the last part we were talking about, Barry, and that was channeling an alien. How did you hook up with this extraterrestrial?
Well, we were doing a book based on conspiracies. That was my third book. Mm-hmm. It was called Spirits Speak of Conspiracies and Mysteries. And we went through and we actually channeled with the spirits that lived the conspiracies. For instance, we channeled with Jack Kennedy. And he told us the people that actually were behind his assassination, told us who pulled the trigger and the kill shot. And I could actually go back in. Once he gave us the information, we could go back in and research, and I could find those names in the different conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. So essentially everything he told us I could tie together historically.
Well, wait a sec here. Hold on here. If it's conspiracy theory, how can you validate that the spirit of JFK was actually giving you historical information? If it wasn't a conspiracy, it would be a fact, but a conspiracy is not a fact.
That's correct. A conspiracy is not a fact.
Right.
But I would go through and I would hold these sessions with the spirits. Mm-hmm. In his instance, I had all kinds of questions made up, and I really didn't know that much about it. So he answered these questions in detail, gave me names, so forth. I would go online and I would search these names, and I would find that there were theories out there online that tried to tie these names together. For instance, he gives me the name of Howard Hunt, E. Howard Hunt.
Yeah.
I go online and I find out that E. Howard Hunt did a deathbed confession that he was involved in the conspiracy. So I would start from the information that they would give, and I would do the historical research and verify that, yes, somebody was talking about the fact or the possibility that this individual was involved. And I would tie this whole thing together and wind up writing a chapter about each of the conspiracies, and we wound up doing 27 different conspiracies in the book.
All on JFK?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
We have a chapter devoted to George Patton. We did a chapter on King Richard III. And when we did King Richard, for instance, he comes in and we're getting these messages in Old English, the I's and the yays and the nays. And I said, you have to prove to me that you're King Richard. Mm-hmm. He spells out the word farthingale, which I had never heard of. I go online, look up farthingale, and it's the name of the castle that he was raised in.
Okay, now let me just stop you here for a second.
Sure.
Are you personally channeling this information, or somebody else channeling the information and giving it to you?
No, I am personally channeling this information.
Okay. And
I'm using a combination of the board where they start to spell out the words, but I'm also hearing the messages in my mind. So I use the channeling board as verification for my verbal messages.
Okay. Who killed JFK?
He was killed by a man by the name of Frank Sturgis. And the conspiracy was triggered by Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I've heard of that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, there were actually, he said there were two shots that hit him. One was fired from the grassy knoll, and one was fired from the roof above the 6th floor of the book depository. That the shooter was actually over top of the window, so that the angle of the kill shot would appear to be the same as it came from the 6th floor room of the depository, where they had set it up to frame Oswald.
What was it like when you realized that you were channeling JFK?
It was amazing. It was a lot of these things, when you do it, you actually can't believe it's happening. In his case, I said, how would you like me to refer to you? And he said, well, just call me Jack. And we channeled probably for an hour and a half, 2 hours, went through the assassination. We talked about a bunch of other things, talked about Bay of Pigs, Marilyn Monroe, bunch of stuff with him. And he was very forthright, and I could not find any problems with any of his answers.
Why is it that only certain people have the ability to channel? And why don't these spirits make their audio voices audible so that they can actually be recorded to give credence and credibility to the claims that mediums make?
I cannot answer why their voices cannot come forward. Mm-hmm. What I can tell you is that I have the video tape and the audio record of the entire session when Kennedy talked to us.
But no disrespect meant here, but that's only you talking. How do people know that you're actually communicating with anyone who is actually there?
That is a very interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
All I can tell you is that the bulk of the evidence that I receive in these sessions
mm-hmm.
and is accurate. And I'm not capable of making this stuff up.
No, but you aren't. You aren't. Wait a minute. You aren't capable of. Hold on here, please. Whoa, slow down. Just let me get a word in here.
All right.
It is very possible that you do an amount of research on the internet prior to getting into these sessions that you record to make it look as if information is coming from the other side. I'm not saying that is what is happening, but that is a possibility because other people, other mediums, other channels have been caught doing this.
That you are correct. And I welcome skeptics.
Mm-hmm.
We have done things like we've channeled live on radio shows. We did a show one night, first time I'd ever done it, where we told the host, we described a picture of her brother that was hanging on the wall. You know, we do a lot of things that there's absolutely no way we could know the background information for. And a lot of this information, you know, we came up with a lot of conspiracy stories that really you can't verify. You can only verify them by the facts that are given to us. In the instance of George Patton, he told us a story that I found almost impossible to believe. But he tied it down with facts that, after the fact, I could go online and verify.
But once again, you can go online and verify after the fact, but how do we know, as the members of the public, and you're talking to a skeptic here, you're talking to a former criminal police investigator here.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we know that this wasn't a setup? And that you had pre-knowledge of everything you were going to talk about. So how do you do this then? How can you prove to me that what you're saying is true?
Well, we were contacted by a person down in Texas about a cold case down there, a murder case.
Yeah.
And we went in and channeled, and I knew absolutely zero about this, nor did anybody else.
Right.
And I went in and we channeled what happened. And we were given a name. And I emailed back, and I emailed the name down to the gentleman in Texas. And we knew the spirits also gave us the motive, how it happened, and all the details of the crime. And I said, when you talk to the police, you need to make very sure that you realize that this information is coming from a medium, because I want no part of this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He calls the detective up, and the detective is like, yeah, right. The guy in Texas gives the detective the name of the individual, and in a week, they reopened the cold case investigation down there.
Has the perpetrator been arrested?
Not that I'm aware of, but they had, after a couple of years, they have reopened the case. But I'm trying to stay away from it. But I let this guy handle it. All I can tell you is, in that instance, they have reopened a case where we've given them information for it.
That is not unusual when somebody comes to the police where an investigation has gone cold. And the investigator believes that this could possibly be a lead, so the investigation is reopened. There's nothing unusual about that.
I don't know. I knew nothing about the case when we started, and I know nothing about it now.
Okay. You say that you also channeled Jesus, am I correct?
Yes.
What's he like?
Incredible energy when he comes through. I mean, the tears come to your eyes, and you can feel this energy in the room. It's phenomenal.
What happens to someone who you're channeling who's already been reincarnated?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, let's say that the spirit of Jesus has been reincarnated, and he is somewhere in the universe or on another planet or in another universe, another dimension. What would happen if you tried to channel him and he was already reincarnated? Would you be able to hook up with him?
No.
No, eh?
No, it has to be spirit energy, but he is not reincarnated.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. And we'll be back on the other side as we continue our investigation into the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology with our guest this hour, Barry Strohm. Now, if you'd like to get more information on Barry, two websites, www.wordsofgod, then and now, and www.spiritspredict.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond. You're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Barry Strohm is my guest this hour, Exonation. www.wordsofgodthenandnow and www.spiritspredict.com. Barry, is there any way that you can channel anything that would help me to better understand or help me to believe in what you're saying?
I can give you some more examples.
Well, you said that you did
no,
already.
I've got one irrefutable one.
Well, you also, wait a sec here.
Sure.
You told me earlier that you actually did a radio show where you described a picture in a radio talk show's host room or office. Can you do
Correct.
anything?
Yeah.
What can you tell me about my office, my studios, my company?
I was channeling with my wife on the board, and I can't do it unless we're set up to do it. We can channel live on a show, but we just...
Oh, okay, so you're not...
my abilities aren't such that I can just go out and do it.
Oh, you can't.
I have to use my channeling board, and I have to have my wife set up with me, and then we probably could do it. With the instance I was going to tell you about, I posted online 9 months before it happened that the last pope was going to retire.
Okay.
Now, that is a matter of record. A couple years ago, before they had we posted, I think it was in November, that there was going to be an earthquake in Puerto Rico, and it happened in January. So that's how we got started with the Spirits Predict.
Gotcha. What else did
website? You can go on and look at the predictions that we posted ahead of time that came true on that site.
Do you have any predictions that you have now that have not come true yet that we can actually track?
We're told that there's going to be a large earthquake in California within the next year or so.
Oh yeah, but everybody's saying that. Even the people at NOAA are saying that. So come on, give me something. Give me something that the listening audience around the world can jot down, put it in their day timer. And come the date, or the surround date, or the possible date, or the probable date, that when it happens, they can say, "Wow."
We're told that this current pope is going to retire before his time, and that the next pope will also be short term.
Okay. Let's get back talking about Jesus. What was your conversation with Jesus? Why channel Jesus?
Because he would like to have the truth of his life told.
And what is his truth?
Well, there's 18 years are missing in the life of Jesus. And during those, very little is actually documented in his life until he begins his ministries around the age of 28. And during those previous 28 years, he actually lives a pretty normal life. And he gave us the details of what took place in that lifetime.
Well, let's see. There are many theories. Well, one theory is that he was in India. Another theory is that he was in Egypt. Ralph Ellis has written a number of books about the missing years in Jesus' life. I can't remember all of what he said, but I believe that the two main areas was one was Egypt and the other one was India. Does this coincide with what Jesus told you?
He stayed in the Mediterranean area. The whole story of Saint Isis in the Himalayas. There was a person that did good by the name of Saint Isis, but it was not Jesus.
Is Jesus going to be coming back?
No.
Then why
not as the form of Jesus?
So why does the Bible talk about the second coming of Christ?
Because not everything that's recorded in the Bible is correct. There were over 300 Gospels presented that weren't included in the Bible.
Well, that goes back to the Council of Nicaea, right?
That is correct.
So how far from the truth is the Bible?
It is probably 50% correct, just pulling a percentage. a lot of the things about Jesus, the early monks wanted to exaggerate so that people would be more impressed and that they would be more inclined to remember what took place in the life of Jesus.
Prior to, or I would imagine, were you a very religious person, or has your ability to channel changed your religious views?
I was spiritual but not religious.
Okay. And has that changed since your ability to channel?
It all depends how you define religion. I mean, I have a 110% belief in God and in Jesus, in the life of Jesus.
Yeah.
But the life of Jesus that I understand is far different than that is written in the Bible.
Fair enough. Extraterrestrials, are they real?
Absolutely.
Is disclosure ever going to happen?
Very soon.
Why is it taking so long?
Because there is a treaty that the aliens have had with our world governments for hundreds of years.
So are we talking about MJ-12?
I don't know how you refer to it. I just refer to it as a treaty in my books.
Okay. Have you ever seen an extraterrestrial, or have you just channeled them?
No, I have seen one.
What does it look like?
The one I saw stood about 7 foot, was a reptilian. I didn't see him real long, but I did see him.
Where was he?
Well, believe it or not, he was standing in our bedroom.
Okay.
My wife is actually an abductee, and we're both abductees. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I looked over, and we always sleep with night lights. Mm-hmm. And here is this big form standing by the side of the bed. And I thought I was dreaming, so I clear my head, I look back over, and this form, a short reptilian nose, he looks at me, and he actually smiles and knocks me out. And that's the last thing I remember about this.
How did he knock you out?
I just went out. Wow. I don't know how he did it, but that's the last thing I remember.
So when were you abducted?
They do a lot of mental abductions where they don't totally take your physical body. In my wife's case, they actually took her body.
Oh gosh!
And but let me tell you a little bit more of the story about me seeing this alien.
Okay.
I don't mention anything to my wife that this alien has smiled at me. When I got up the next morning, I said, Connie, I think I saw an alien, and you may have gone for another trip last night. So the people that taught me board channeling are out in Salt Lake City. Okay? So that night, we get them on Skype. And they have the channeling board in Salt Lake City. We are on Skype in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. They know absolutely nothing about what has taken place. So this was the time we were channeling our alien buddy, Moo. So I asked if Moo can make his appearance in Salt Lake. And he comes in out there. And the answers are coming from Salt Lake City. And as I say, I'm asking him from Pennsylvania. And I say, Moo, did I see a real alien last night? And on the board in Salt Lake City, it spells out, yes, and did you see him smile at you? And absolutely nobody knew that fact. So I'm kind of taking that as verification. Yeah, I was awake, and what I saw was real.
So why are they abducting humans?
In some instances, they will cure sicknesses for them. Sometimes when you see some of these miracle cures, people have been abducted and they don't realize it and they cure it. Aliens are here to help. If they meant us harm, we'd be gone, long gone. In the treaty, they have the right to observe us and to study us and to see how humanity is progressing. So they actually, they want us to refer to an abduction, not as an abduction, but as a learning session. So sometimes they will implant information in people's minds, do different things to channel. One time Mu told us that they're trying to keep track of how humans are trying to kill themselves. It's, they're trying to watch out for the evolution of humans.
So why don't they just make themselves known to one and all?
Because the vast majority of the people are not ready for it.
What will it take before the vast majority of the people are ready to either accept the existence phenomenon or just know it's not real?
It will be a slow learning process, and things are now taking place. There are many more sightings taking place. More and more people are getting used to the idea. You're seeing part of the disclosure process is what NASA's going through now with this new finding on Mars.
Yeah, but they only found one molecule. It's not as if they...
But they've got to get people used to the idea that, yes, there's a lot of intelligent life out there. But it's a start. What's taking place in Antarctica will lead to disclosure.
What's happening in Antarctica? I mean, besides the...
We uncovered an alien base down in Antarctica.
Where is the proof of that? I know it's on the internet, and God, if it's on the internet, it's got to be real.
I can give you, in my new book coming out, I have the coordinates that you can go on to Google Earth and see the entrance to the base down there, the hole in the earth that they use.
All right, we'll be back on the other side of this break. Exo Nation. I'm Rob McConnell. Barry Strohm is our special guest this hour. And we'll be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, if you'd like to get the current edition of the X Chronicles newspaper, it is coming out on, when, Craig? June the 15th at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. Thanks, Craig. I'm Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness exposé novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique, complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com.
All right, Exonation, here's two websites for you. www.wordsofgodthenandnow and www.spiritspredict.com. Our guest this hour is Barry Strohm. And Barry, the photos on Google Earth, you know, people have seen a lot of things, said a lot of things, reported a lot of things, but they never pan out. Why is this time going to be different?
Because this time it's real.
How do we know it's real? Have you been there?
No.
So how do you know it's real?
Because this is what we've channeled and what we've been told.
Oh.
Moo told us 2 years ago that disclosure would be within 3 years. We're figuring it's going to be somewhere around the year 2020.
Well, if he told you 2 years ago it was going to be in 3 years, 2 years ago was 16, and so it would be 2019. What happens 2021, no disclosure?
I don't know. That's what we're told, and that's what the prediction we have out there is. Okay. And if it doesn't come true, then what they told us wasn't right. Something changed. Things change.
But isn't that like the old clause, that, non-interference clause? There seems to be, whenever it comes to mediumship, psychic phenomenon, UFOs, extraterrestrials, there's always an escape clause that protects the person who is making the statement. Like you said, things happen.
Yeah, well, we're only messengers. These aren't our messages.
But what responsibility do you take as a messenger, giving people information that may not be true?
Well, we tell them that we find that we're about 85% accurate with what we do.
But how do you where do you get the basis of 85% accuracy? How do you gauge it?
Well, when I'm doing channeling sessions for a book, I will ask the question on multiple sessions to make sure we're getting the same answers. And there are times that we've had spirits give us intentionally given us bad answers. We were channeling a saint from the Catholic Church, and he was trying to preserve the information. He didn't want any bad information going out about the church, and he was giving us some bad information. And when we came back in another session and asked the questions differently of another saint, we were given different answers, and finally we started getting duplicate answers, and that's pretty much what we go with. We do our best we can to give correct information.
Have you ever been wrong?
Yes, absolutely.
What's been your biggest foobar? We've given some bad information about the church, and we've come back and had to change some of the information that we put out. We have one chapter in the conspiracy book that we received 2 answers about. So I basically put both answers in the book, and I don't know what's correct, but I do know that one of the answers, things have happened since we wrote it that is verifying one side of it. And that was on what happened to the Malaysian Flight 370. They told us that, portions of the plane would be planted to throw people off track, and that they would never find the remains. So parts of but there were 2 stories. One was so far out there, I had trouble believing it. So I printed both of them. And pays your money, it takes your choice. Or is it you pay your money, you take your chance?
however you want to phrase it.
What was the second story? One was the planting of wreckage, and what was the other one that was far out?
Well, one of them dealt with alien interaction. That actually there was an accident that took place with an alien vehicle, and that they had to take the ship and hide it in the deepest part of the ocean so no one would find it. And that parts of the ship would be planted, they would find pieces, but no one would ever find the ship.
During your channeling sessions with the aliens, have you ever talked about what happened in Roswell, New Mexico?
Yes, I have a whole chapter on it in my first alien book.
And based on your communication with Moo or whoever it is that you're communicating with, what happened in Roswell?
They had one of their small craft wreck out there. There were 5 aliens on the ship. They were all killed on impact, and the story was covered up. It basically verifies a lot of the conspiracy theory around Roswell.
Yeah. But is there any fact? You've talked a lot about conspiracy theories. You've talked about a lot about information that cannot be unequivocally proven, that can be considered as evidence in a court of law, or cannot be accepted or replicated by science. Is there anything you can give us that would prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that channeling from the other side is real?
Yes. The one conspiracy theory that we put about the death of Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
John Wilkes Booth.
Right, yeah.
The story of what happens to John Wilkes Booth. I always thought that he died in Virginia. The story that they told us was that the Union Army had actually captured a Confederate captain that resembled Booth, and Secretary of War Stanton was behind the assassination. So they faked the death of Booth down in Virginia, and Booth actually flees to Kentucky. 3 years later, he marries a woman down there. And there are photographs online of a marriage license signed J.W. Booth. Long story short, he goes to Texas. A woman in town's marrying a U.S. Marshal. He fears that he's going to be recognized by the Marshal, goes further out on the Texas frontier, becomes a bartender, alcoholic, gets very ill, and actually does a deathbed confession out in Texas that he is John Wilkes Booth. Survives. Now he has a real problem, and he flees to Enid, Oklahoma, where he becomes an alcoholic and actually commits suicide in 1903.
Wow.
I went there is a photograph in the archives that shows the body of John Wilkes Booth in his casket in Enid, Oklahoma. I thought that was pretty good proof of the story, but the story goes a little bit further.
All right, okay. I'd just like to quickly touch on something else right now.
Okay.
Time travel. The time travel of Bruce Gernon. What's that about?
Bruce, this is a documented story. It took place down in Florida. Gernon is flying. He's got a Cessna, and this is in 1971, I think, if my memory's correct. He's flying from Bimini to Miami Beach.
Yeah. Does this story have anything to do with channeling?
We verified the story by channeling.
Okay, because I know Bruce Gernon very well.
Okay. Well, then you're familiar with the story.
Yeah, but
I channeled it to make sure to verify that it took place. I was doing the segment on wormholes.
Okay.
And I ran across this story, and then when I read it, I verified it with the guides to see if it was correct or not before I put it in, and they verified the story that it was. So. That's a long story short. Just like
okay, we're going to have to take a break here because we've come to the end of the segment. So, Exonation, before we come back, here's a couple of websites: www.wordsofgodthenandnow and www.scientology.com. spiritspredict.com. All righty, I want to thank our guest this hour, Bruce Strohm. But I've got to tell you something, Exo Nation. Here we have another incident where there is another medium who's making claims that just can't be proven. And you know what really ticked me off, or what really raised, there's two things that raised red flags. Number one, when he said that they were doing a live channel on a live radio show, that they were able to do this, that, and the other thing. When I put him on the spot about doing something tonight, he couldn't because it had not been set up. Blah, 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 blah. Excuses. Then when he said, you pay your money, you take your chances. That's another consumer beware. You know what? I wouldn't waste my time going to his websites, Exo Nation. Another wannabe. Another person who says they can channel extraterrestrials, Jesus, Jack Kennedy. And the list goes on and on and on and on. I've never heard of this guy before tonight. Never. I've been doing this show for what, Craig, 28 years now? I've never heard of this guy. And all of a sudden, he's got all the answers to all the questions that have been perplexing man for so many years, including where Jesus was in the missing 18 years. Who killed John F. Kennedy? And these other ridiculous and redundant stories without any evidence except, well, I channeled them. I channeled John Kennedy. I channeled Jesus. I channeled Moo. What a name for an alien, Moo. Anyway, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. But in my opinion, X-Zone Nation, this is another one where another medium bites the dust.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.